If you have a sleepless night because you're trying to be a good mother, that doesn't compute. There's nothing about being a good mother and suffering on behalf of her children. Be the former, but don't let the latter happen. Suffering is only a product of attachment, nothing else. It would be wrong to say that I love my children so deeply, that's why when I see them hurt, I cry. Complete and utter nonsense. Don't fall for that. Don't think that as a good mother, your expression of love are the tears that swell up in your eyes when you see that they suffer. That is not a mother's love. In which case, the Buddha never loved anybody. But for 45 long years of his life, he walked on foot, preaching the Dhamma, going from door to door, going from town to town and village to village, healing people, healing mothers, healing fathers, healing sons and daughters, healing kings and beggars, teaching them true happiness. True happiness is not crying when the person you love has a problem, but it is neither being in a state of euphoric joy when someone you love is in a state of happiness. It's neither of those things. It's being unshakable. It's being equanimous. It's neither here nor there. It's neither of these two extremes. Let me give you more examples to help you work out why this pleasure that you experience in life is just so overrated, and why I urge you not to fall into this trap. Let me give you another example. I'm going to ask you a question, okay? And I want you to give me some answers. Let's say there's a mother. She has 2 children. Okay, let's say they're identical twins, just to give a level playing field. Okay? Because otherwise you might say, I like my elder son because he was the first. I like him better. All right. So, twins, identical twins, right? And they're both in the same class, in the same school. It's exam time. Now, one of these children, they're more studious than the other. Okay? One of them is more studious than the other. So, the studious child, he always gets top grades in class. So, he's usually the first, second or third in class. Whereas the other, they are sort of average. They're the more sporty type. Okay? So, maybe they're usually 15 and below. 15, 16, that sort of rank at school. So end of term exams or end of year exams, they come home with the results and they say, Mother, we have got our results. And you ask them, yes, Buddha. Tell me, what did you get? So the boy who always comes top in class says, guess what? I've come first in class today. So he's always like first, second or third in class. What is your reaction to this child? Do you throw a party? He's always first, second or third in class, okay? Every term exam, he comes first, second or third. He's never dropped below that. And he comes home and says, I'm first in class, Mother. What might you do? At best, now you pat his head and say, well done, Buddha, you make our family proud. Well done again. You might give him a hug. Now the second child, he's not very studious. He's always 15th or so. He comes and says, Mother, guess what? I'm third in class. What do you do now? Do you give the second child the same treatment that you gave the first child? What do? You're over the moon, aren't you? If you could, you'd carry him and throw him up in the air, just to express the joy that has just taken over your heart. Why so? Why is this? Is coming third better than coming first? Is coming third better than coming first? Of course not, because you want, that's why you like it when your child comes first in class. But this second child, right, the other twin, he's usually 15th in class. Now he comes home and says he's third in class, but you give him a better reaction. You smother him with love and affection in ways that you never have done. The other child who always comes first, second or third in class. Now I want you to answer me. Why this unfairness? Madam, absolutely. Why this unfairness? And the answer to that is, whatever vexed you more, that is what gave you the more pleasure. With the first child, you knew that he was always going to come first in class, first, second or third in class. Therefore, there was not a great deal of expectation. Now, you always knew that was going to happen. So there was not a lot of vexation. There was not a lot of, might he fail again? There was not a lot of that. But with the second child, you were always worried about your second child. Is he not going to perform in class any day? He's always coming middle in class. I don't know, at this rate, he might just, drop out of school one of these days. He's not performing very well. He's not the pride of our family. How can I talk about him to my friends? But today he comes and says, I'm third. That is going to be the reason for the next party. You go through these emotions. Perhaps you never stop to wonder why. See, so much so that the first child thinks, flipping heck. I come first in class every week, or every month, every term, and I don't get this kind of treatment. I know what I have to do next time. He's going to start underperforming at school, just so he can get your love the same way as his brother did. Because you've just treated them very unfairly. Of course, it's unfair to them, but it's fair to you. Because what you decide is fair is all based on what you vex about, what you suffer about, what your expectation is about. This is the truth. See, just time and time again, I'm throwing at you examples, ladies and gentlemen, to prove to you the point that pleasure is not something you get from a person or an object or an event or a situation. It's something that, pleasure is not a state of mind. It's an activity of mind. That's why you're always trying to be happy but never happy. We talked about this last week. You can only be one of these two things. You can either try to be happy or you can be happy. You can't be both. You walk into a restaurant for a difference, for a change, because you're trying to be happy. If that made you happy, you don't need to be made happy again, but you do. That's why after a nice hearty meal, you have to have, after a nice hearty main course, you also need the side course, and you need the dessert, because you were not made happy by the first meal. I used to be like that. My wife and I, we used to love going to restaurants. Every weekend we'd do that. If it was not a movie night at home, we'd go out. We wanted to try new things. We would drive across London to get to the best ice cream parlor. We did. We'd drive across the city to try the best shish kebab. We did. We did. But today I'm not fussed. I'm not fussed because it's not because I've kind of forced myself into, it's all the same thing, why do I bother? No, it's not that. Today I don't seek delight, I don't seek pleasure from food. Because pleasure is not in the food. That's why I don't seek it in food. For as long as you believe that the pleasure that you experience when you eat a piece of cake comes from the cake, you will always try to keep eating cake, but you will never be satisfied. Are you ever satisfied eating cake? Are you? Can you have a piece of cake and say, that's it, I don't need to eat cake again? That's the last piece of cake ever? No, you will always try it again. Maybe after a week, maybe after 2 weeks. After a while, you'll always try it again because you're never content. You're not content, ladies and gentlemen, because you don't know how to be content. It's not your fault. Or it's only because you've never learned how to. I'm here to show you how.